Elon. Good afternoon, Elon University.
Hello.
And welcome to our first Skype session with college admissions personnel. So we're very excited about this, and we're hoping, having spoken with you earlier, that we have your permission to tape this session so we can share it with students in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So you guys can start. We have a counselor in the room, we have a parent, and we have 2 students in the room. So why don't you guys start, tell us a little bit about Elon, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Perfect. I'll have Leanna introduce herself first, actually.
Okay, great.
Hi, everybody. My name is Leanna Matarazzo. I'm a senior. I'm from Long Island, actually. I'm from Westbury, New York, so I went to Kellenberg Memorial High School. I actually do work in admissions here at Elon. I'm a tour guide, and I've been a tour guide since spring of my freshman year. So I've been here just learning about the ins and outs of the school and just getting to see both sides, you know, from a student and now working in admissions. And so I'd be happy to share both sides of that with you throughout the session today.
Great, thank you.
And I am Scott Christofferson. I am the admissions counselor for all of New York at Elon, so I'll be the reader for all the applications for all of you. I'm really excited to be involved with this. It's great whenever I can have more FaceTime with any prospective students, parents, counselors, etc. So do you want me to kind of start off with some general information about Elon?
Yes, that would be great.
Perfect. All right, so Elon is a medium-sized private liberal arts university. We are in the town of Elon, North Carolina, right in the central part of the state. We are a suburb of Greensboro. Greensboro is about 400,000 people. Greensboro has kind of the 2 suburbs on the east side are Elon and Burlington, combined populations of about 70,000 people. Elon University itself has about 5,700 undergraduate students and another 700 or 800 graduate students. In terms of the breakdown of the undergraduate body, only 16% come from North Carolina, so large majority coming from pretty far away. We have all 50 states represented, DC, almost every U.S. territory, and I think 52 countries, so you meet people from all over the place. The campus itself is very residential. It is almost 600 acres, so it's a pretty large campus, but in terms of the area you'll be using on a daily basis, you can walk from one side to the complete opposite in probably 15 or 20 minutes. About 72% of students live on the campus itself. You are required to live on campus your first and your second year. Overall, very centralized student life, and I'm sure later on Lena can kind of elaborate on that. In terms of the academic side on campus, we have over 50 majors. On the undergraduate side, it's split up into 4 colleges or schools. The largest is Elon College. That'll be all of our arts and sciences, so everything from biochemistry to music theater, and anything in between. And then schools of business, communication, and education. For Elon, our admissions process is not different for the separate schools or colleges. So therefore, when you apply to university, there is not a separate application. There is not separate criteria for any of the specific schools or programs. The only exceptions to that rule are the BFA program. So if any of you are interested in music theater, dance, or acting, all those require an audition in addition to your application. Other than that, though, you can put undecided, you can put business, you can put education. It does not have any weight on your admissions decision. In terms of the classroom life, we have an average of 21 students in a classroom and a max of 33, so we do not use any of those 150-person classrooms. Yep.
So I couldn't even tell you where we would even put that many people.
We have 11 to 1 student-faculty ratio, so even though we're not the tiniest college, we really do emphasize a small classroom setting that you get with your faculty. And our faculty really are the ones who will know you by first name within the first couple of weeks. And they are really emphasize that mentor relationship with the students in addition to that kind of scholarly side of being published. So that classroom time is something that we really highly value on campus. In terms of kind of, I guess, bridging the gap between your extracurriculars and your academic end, Elon's pretty well known for the 5 Elon experiences. These 5 are internships, study abroad, research, leadership, and service. The largest one is internships. About 92% of our students complete one by the time they graduate now. We are not in the middle of a major city here. However, for those of you who aren't familiar with North Carolina, we are only about half an hour away from the Research Triangle Park. It's actually one of the largest business parks in the world. So that is a huge resource for our students. It did used to be kind of primarily IT industries, but it really does cater to pretty much any industry you can think of now. And students will intern there during the school year or over the summer. In addition to that, though, like I mentioned before, our students are from all over the place, so they kind of go all over the place afterwards. We have networking opportunities all over the country and abroad. Some of our largest alumni chapters are actually New York City, DC, and LA. Those three are really popular for internships. And again, that can be during the school year or over the summer. The second of the 5 Elon experiences that Elon's really well known for is study abroad. We have about 73% of our students studying abroad by the time they graduate. That is the highest percentage in the country for master's level universities. Elon campuses abroad, and then about 70 or 80 affiliate programs around the globe as well. So if there's a place you have in mind to go, we probably have a program there. Service covers over 80% of our students as well. A lot of community organizations to be involved with. Leadership will cover any leadership position in one of our student organizations on campus. And then research is a great opportunity for anyone who's looking for depth in their academic field. I think one way that Elon kind of approaches that differently from other schools is that you're not competing with graduate students for a research project, and you're not a research assistant. You work one-on-one with a faculty member. You can start as early as your second semester on campus. And of our students who complete a research project, over 70% of them are published by the time they graduate. So really neat opportunities to have under your belt before you even leave our campus. One that I would say a lot of students wouldn't necessarily have until the graduate program. Does that answer some of your questions for now? Does that kind of bring up any additional questions you can think of?
You said about 21 kids per class. Is that even in your freshman year when you're taking the Common Core classes?
Yeah, good question. So even for your core requirement courses at Elon, a max of 33 students. In fact, I would say those are probably the only classes that even get up close to that maximum number of 33. As you get higher into a level like Leanna, I'm sure in her 3rd and 4th year classes for her major probably have what?
So as a senior right now, so my major, I'm a religious studies major, so I'm within the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm a relatively small major, but I've had a class with as many as 5 people in it. So it can get that small. I've had 300 level courses with 11 students. I'm in a Spanish class right now with 15 students. So it can get pretty small. And I think just talking to my friends in other fields, we all have a very similar understanding that as you're, this is far off for those of you in the room, but as a senior right now, junior, senior year, you're going to be needing letters of recommendation for grad school and things to that effect. And it's really important to not just have letters of recommendation, but strong letters of recommendation where professors can speak about you as a person and about how you perform in the classroom. So it's really important that the professors know you well, and that's totally possible, especially the older that you get. So.
Any other questions? I think they're good for right now. Do you have a question?
I have a question for you. I was working with a student who was interested in pre-med. Can you speak a little bit? I know you have a biology program, and I heard you mention biochemistry. Do you have any sort of pre-professional advisement for med school applications and such?
Yeah, and actually, so biology, chemistry, and biochemistry are all in our 10 largest majors on campus, and the sciences are very large. We do have a pre-health professions program on campus. That will work with students interested in pre-medical programs, pre-vet, pre-dentistry, PT, any of those. It's basically a team of advisors you would have in addition to your academic advisor. A lot of them are actually practicing in the area nearby, so they might be running a PT clinic nearby, or it might be a dentist nearby, and they actually work with our faculty on campus. Their job is more directly related to that kind of that pathline or that pipeline from undergraduate to graduate. So they will help with anything from tutoring for the entrance exam you'll be taking for that graduate program, shadowing current students. We have 3 major hospital systems within half an hour drive to campus, so a lot of shadowing opportunities for current, I would say, medical school students who are doing the residency, pre-residency, and even visiting different medical schools nearby while they're trying to kind of narrow down a list of medical schools. Whereas your academic advisor is making sure you have all your prerequisite courses through your major, making sure you have the right research on your resume or the right internships, whatever things that are more related to your current kind of undergraduate career on campus.
One of my close friends came into Elon thinking, hey, I want to be a business major, realized a little soon after that, probably by the beginning of the sophomore year, which is when most people start to begin to decide on their major that they were not looking to be a business major, really wanted to get into the sciences, pre-health profession, go on to hopefully be a surgeon one day. But unfortunately, the way that they kept on taking classes in the business school, it was a little too late for some of the classes that they needed. But right now they're going to be taking post-baccalaureate classes at American University, and the professors here at Elon really helped to prepare him to get the letters of recommendation for that, to really help him and to help exaggerate how great of a student he was with the plans that we have and those types of things. So even if it's not an immediate decision, I mean, maybe the student you're speaking about really knows right now what they want, but even for those students that don't know right away and then realize it later on, there's still going to be a great support system for that as well.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions you can get there?
And I know you kind of touched on this, that a lot of your students do come from other areas, since, you know, it sounds like a small portion of your population is actually from North Carolina. But can you speak to a little bit about what life is like on the weekends? I know, you know, coming from Long Island, it's not like you can just come home every weekend or that type of thing. Is there, you know, how do you feel like the life is for students when they're not in class?
Yeah, I'll just start off with a little bit and then let Leanna kind of expand on it. But I think one great thing about Elon's campus life is that we are not a suitcase college. So this is definitely not the type of place where students are emptying out on the weekends. It is not the type of campus where students feel they need to leave campus to find something to do. I kind of referenced it before, but it is a very centralized student life. So most student activity in student life will still be on or around campus, even on the weekends. We obviously, like I said before, not in the middle of a major city, so it's a lot of student-run, student-created activities. We also bring a lot to campus as well. We do have D1 athletics on campus. We have 17 programs. That helps a lot. There's a lot going on with that throughout the year. Football, baseball, basketball, and soccer are our most popular sporting events for turnout. We have incredible performing arts as well. Those pretty much get sold out every performance.
Chicago today.
Yep, and we have a lot of other things, like the Student Union Board is one of our largest organizations. They'll do a lot of more of the entertainment-based programs. So like Kate McKinnon from SNL was here in the fall. We have a movie on the lawn this Friday on the quad. It's Unbroken, the new Reese Witherspoon movie. We'll have like a concert, a large concert, one in the fall, one in the spring. In the fall it was
Ludacris.
And that changes every year. They'll bring like bands to campus to perform in addition to that. And then obviously all the student organizations themselves, other than the Student Union Board, will organize their own events. We also are pretty lucky being a part of North Carolina that has a really good music scene. Being very central to the state, a lot of the large tours that come through will stop in Greensboro at the Coliseum. So a lot of the big names that we've all heard of, I could list them off, but they'll all stop there at the Greensboro Coliseum. It's probably only about 20 minutes away from campus. And also a lot of really neat smaller music venues. And I would say that's definitely a strength of Greensboro, is that music scene. So I would say that's the town that if students are leaving, that's going to be the area they're going to. And then Nashville also. But I'll let kind of Leanna maybe expand a little bit on that. But overall, student life is definitely going to be around the campus. It is actually pretty busy student life.
Yeah, and in terms of like if you're thinking more weekends, so like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, we definitely don't have a massive amount of bars and stuff like that in the local area, but there is enough that you can still experience that. And I'm very young for my age and where I should be as a senior, so I only just turned 21 in the fall. So really young compared to a lot of my friends, but a lot of the local places are still allowing 18-year-olds to go in and still participate in the trivia nights and karaoke. Obviously, you can't participate in the adult beverage part, but you can still go and participate in whatever events there are going on. So you don't have to miss out, even if you are young like I was and turned 21 a lot later than everybody. But that in itself, I could just that was my personal experience. But
Yeah.
In terms of Greek life, would you say there's a large portion of your students participating in that?
Yeah, in terms of participation, it's about 32 or 33% of the students, which is pretty standard for universities in the Southeast. I would say Elon has a slightly different environment overall, and I'll just kind of give the nuts and bolts, and then Leanna is a Greek life, so she can explain a little bit about it, but Elon actually does have a deferred recruitment process, so no one's able to go through that rush process until they've completed a semester on campus. A lot of our students coming to campus don't really know a lot about Greek life, so the idea behind it is to give them some time to get acclimated to college first, and then figure out if they'd like to go through with that. So, like I said, it goes through or happens during the spring of their first year. You could also go through even later than that. There are 22 chapters, I think, on campus. And only about 12 or 13 of the chapters have houses. So there's not as much of the residential component as maybe at some other universities. But overall, that delayed process, I think, is a good is very symbolic of the, I would say, more balanced presence on campus in terms of the socially dominating side. I would say is not as prevalent as it might be at some other schools, just because students have that chance to get involved with other organizations first and then go through the recruitment process. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think just coming from New York, it's not Greek life. You know, I wear my letters back home and people look at me like I have 7 heads. It's not a big thing. But I came in here with an open mind and just thought about it and realized, okay, this is something I'm interested in. And like Scott said, the deferred recruitment, the fact that we don't do it that summer coming in or that fall, wait till the spring, I think that's the most attractive part about it. Gives you an opportunity to meet other people, see if it's for you in general, and just kind of get a feel for which organization might be the best fit for you. And another thing that I get asked about a lot on tour is, you know, do I need to come to campus with a bunch of letters of recommendation? Like, what if I'm the only person in my family to ever be Greek? Well, that was me. No one else in my family ever even thought about it. My brother, my parents, nobody. So I didn't come with a single letter and ended up being in an organization, and I've been so happy. So it's not that kind of place. If you're looking for it, it's here. And if you're not looking for it, we have over 200 organizations that you can be a part of too.
With that being said, would you say it's harder to find friends if you're not part of Greek life?
Definitely not. I think with that, again, with the summer, so if you're coming early for, let's say, a sport preseason, so I think you're in some softball gear, if I'm correct. If you're coming early for a sport for preseason, so that was my experience. I came early in August. I had teammates that I was part of, people on my hall, other teams that were here, so athletes. I had that as a network when I first came. And then people that lived in my dorm, once everybody came to campus on move-in day. I had people in my orientation group, people in my classes, people in other activities I was in. So I definitely don't think, you know, if you can't meet people and all that, I really don't know what to say, but there's lots and lots of ways for you to meet folks before that. So.
And overall, like we were saying, that's, you know, 22 or 23 chapters out, and that's out of a total of, I think, 227 organizations on campus. So there's, you know, clearly a lot of other, you know, opportunities for that niche to find for your student group on campus.
Yeah. And something I really appreciated looking back on, you know, just my 4 years here, the way that the RAs really get to know the students on the hall and the way that your hall functions and your building and your dorm functions is something that I missed terribly. And I thought it was so fun just to be able to get to know people so well. Everyone, you know, keeps their doors open and you just pop in, say, hey, it's a nice, fun environment. So just that first orientation week and then the first semester and all that, when you really get to know the people in your dorm really well, that's a really fun part also.
Can you speak a little bit about the academic profile, just so people have an idea of what you're looking for?
Yeah, so this year's, so I can give the information for the admitted students. Overall average, and it's a little tough to give a GPA because we do work with so many different high schools, but overall average is kind of an A-, B+ type student. We do use a recalculated GPA, which is why I give that kind of grade range instead. So we only look at the 5 core areas of classes. So the A's and gym classes are not going to help them in this sense, but we do re-weight the courses. So basically everyone gets a uniform level of weight for honors, and then for AP and IB, etc. In terms of the standardized scores, we are not test optional, so we do require SAT or ACT. ACT middle 50% range is a 25 to a 29. And the SAT middle 50% range is a 1750 to a 1950. One big thing for Elon, though, is that we really look for students who are involved outside of the classroom. As we both kind of referenced, we are pretty lucky in having a very busy, very involved and energetic campus, and I think we continue to attract students like that, and those are the ones we like to see. There is no magic recipe for certain organizations to be involved with, or a certain number of organizations to be involved with. We have plenty of students that are involved with one or two organizations, but they have that depth there from those organizations, and it's something that they are able to share in their application about something they've learned from that experience. It can be a job, it can be volunteering, it can be a sport. There's not a recipe there for what we're looking for, but we were looking for a student who's involved in their community outside the classroom as well. That's a pretty important part of Elon's campus that we provide.
The Kellenberg, they used to make the joke about Kellenberg that it was a school that never sleeps, and that was totally how I felt when I was there for 4 years. And when I came here to Elon, it was literally the same thing. So just as hard as I worked there is just as hard as I'm working here now, and I'm grateful that I worked as hard as I did in Kellenberg, and just being involved and getting to know faculty really well and working hard in the classroom, because it only made the transition to college that much easier. I appreciate how busy Elon is. There's something going on every minute, every hour of the day, and that just makes for a really robust student body, and it's a lot of fun here.
Did I answer your question for the profile?
Yes, thank you.
So I'm the counselor in the room. When I always have questions for admissions people about those fringe students who might go down and visit, say, a college, in this case Elon, just absolutely love it, but might be 50 points lower on their average SAT, or may be just outside that B+ range. What are some suggestions you have as far as what that student can do to just not only enhance themselves, I guess their profile, but certainly just to show you all that this is their place to be? So
absolutely. Well, Elon does track demonstrated interests. And that is really one of our major roles as admissions counselors, is to have that communication open with prospective students. So if they have that, very strong interest from the start, that is something they should absolutely communicate with us. This is not the type of office that shuns, emails and phone calls from prospective families. We are not on the Common App, and therefore we are really driven by that demonstrated interest. They're already applying to our specific application, so we like to see that on top of that. If they're able to visit, that's one form of it. However, we do not require a visit for, like I said before, a lot of our families, that can be quite a distance. So we don't require that, but emails, phone calls, joining our mailing list, even our student portal online, we can see when they're checking that and checking out all the material that's available through that. That's going to be probably one of their best resources for them to have kind of as evidence or to support them. Other than that, I would say on the application itself, the essay is highly important to us. We read every single application, and I think the essay is by far the section that gives us the best kind of picture of the person who's applying instead of just the transcript. So the essay, I always tell all of the students and families to make sure that you spend some quality time on that. For us, it is not a personal statement. Therefore, I think it becomes even more important to respond to the prompts that we have, but be able to tie in something that you've been passionate about, something you've been involved with, something you've learned from those experiences, and just kind of to pull that all together.
Great, and if I could follow that up, many of our students have talents outside of maybe something that they're going to study in college. I'm thinking of a specific art student who's very talented, but might not be pursuing a BFA there. Would you accept, and do you encourage people to send like a portfolio of work, even if they're not headed in that direction per se, or any other additional research perhaps, because we have students that do science research as well?
Absolutely. So it will not be, for example, if a dance student sends in a video of a performance, we wouldn't be using that as part of a dance kind of evaluation, because no one in the office is necessarily credited to being able to evaluate that. But that is great for us to see in terms of those extracurricular activities you were mentioning before, the things they've been involved with. A student can say, they were involved with the dance company for 2 years, but having that video to show and that, an idea of that performance that they were involved with absolutely helps. And in terms of submitting it, the easiest is definitely a digital copy, and with that, just email their admissions counselor for their area. I've gotten photography portfolios, the songs that students have recorded, newspaper articles if they've been mentioned in local newspapers. I mean, it can be anything. We love to add anything like that. It's relatively easy as long as they can send it to us, to the admissions counselors.
Great, thanks.
You mentioned newspaper articles. I was just wondering, is there a campus newspaper that's run by students or students can participate in?
Yeah, the Pendulum is our main newspaper that is weekly in print and daily online. And there's a couple other publications, like there's an Elon magazine, I think that's monthly, that is also student run, and then a couple other news style outlets, those are going to be all online. So the Pendulum is our main newspaper that's going to be combining both the print and online options, and that is all completely student run.
Go ahead, Will.
I noticed how business is like one of the main
Can you hear him?
there at Elon.
Can you
Can
repeat
you
that?
move up a
Sorry.
little bit, Will?
I can stay.
You can come, yeah, I have a microphone.
I just noticed how business was one of the main majors there at Elon. I was wondering, how do you go about with like networking, for like careers after college, and just kind of exploring it, the field, to see if that's really what you have an interest in, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
like Scott said earlier, the internship is one of the biggest things that students participate in here, and definitely within the School of Business, that is a huge way for students to be able to experience what they could possibly see themselves doing as a postgraduate. So definitely taking advantage of that. There is actually an office located within the School of Business just specifically for business majors, so they can help you just with the internship search, making sure your resume really appeals to folks within the field, and helping you to narrow down the search for postgraduate job opportunities as well. We do career fairs and stuff very often here at Elon, and the business school does their own kind of separate little, smaller ways where they'll invite folks to campus for networking opportunities, especially with accounting. I know that a lot of, just fellow tour guides that are accounting majors have had great opportunities to be in contact with the major Big Four accounting firms, and just to network in that way. And they, the country has really been able to see how fantastic Elon is, and just the business school specifically, if that's what you're asking about. So the name is out there, and I think that that's really also really helpful, that not only the internships, but our name is also really helpful too.
And also add, we are pretty lucky to have some really involved alumni with current students. We have the Elon Network. It's not necessarily the most original name, but it's kind of our own version of a LinkedIn. And you, as a student, would have access to that, and you can search by industry or by city. A lot of alumni are available to informational interviews. So, for example, if a student was in the marketing or a marketing major, they may not know quite what type of firm they want to apply to or intern with afterwards. Large, small, where it is. As examples. So a lot of our alumni are listed on that website that you can reach out to and ask some more specific questions without having to go that step of narrowing it down to an exact internship or exact where you want to move for a job afterwards. They'll even do a couple series Skype sessions, kind of like this, where they'll have a group of alumni in a specific city. So a group of students here on campus can Skype with a group of alumni in Chicago and ask about how they networked with those firms right now, what the city is like, and everything like that. So a lot of opportunities to speak with those alumni as resources as well.
Just before, I would just like everybody to just introduce themselves to you.
Yeah.
I'm Chloe Shoik. I'm a junior here at Southampton.
And she has a softball game.
Yes.
Okay. Good luck.
Best of luck
This
to
is not a
you.
lack of interest.
We have a good team.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Jane. I'm the school counselor.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Amy Pearson. I'm a parent, and I also work in the district, but
Okay.
wear two hats.
Hi, I'm Maria Castillo, and I'm a junior.
I'm William Taylor Reddick, and I'm a junior here also.
Thank you.
Great.
Awesome.
Any other questions? We just had a comment in the room that this was very helpful.
Good.
So I appreciate you being our pioneers and being willing to explore this with us. So
Yeah, absolutely.
And if any of the students have questions about just being someone from New York and being from Long Island and stuff like that, and how you can experience North Carolina, if you just let Scott know, he can give you my email address, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions about student life. So just let me know.
great. And what I'd like to, with the students' permission, of course, is to share their emails, their names and emails with you, Scott, so that you have, you know, you can keep a record of their demonstrated interest that they came to this Elon
Absolutely.
Skype session.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
one of the reasons we talked about this, is that it is an opportunity to ask questions in real time and to visualize so they see you, and it is a way to connect, so.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And let me also thank you for mentioning the fact that you're open to communication, because it's nowadays that we're constantly, the counselors asking, because some colleges will tell you, please do not pick up the phone, don't email, you know, and others are saying, well, we track these things. So I appreciate you being upfront with that, because I think that's what students need to hear more than anything else about the importance of keeping in touch and showing their demonstrated interest. So thanks.
Maria, do you have anything? Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
Of
you.
course. Yeah.
Bye, take care.
Okay, bye-bye. Just like go like this.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.